And I'd also just like to introduce Matt Ober, who's with us today. He is CAI's president. So we are very excited for Matt to join us. I know on our last call, we kind of introduced his theme for the year of building communities, and we thought it would be really important for you all to be able to connect with Matt and for him to share some insights around his position, what he's looking forward for of the year. And so at this time, we'll go ahead and we'll turn it over to you, Matt. So
Awesome.
welcome.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you guys for letting me crash your party. I'm smiling because I see some familiar faces, and particularly I see you, Lana. Lana and I served on the board, what, 50 years ago,
At least
out in
50 years ago.
out in the Inland Empire. Thank you for letting me just take a few seconds just to say hello, because um, I know how important what you do is. Um, and for stepping in to lead. I have practiced law in Southern California for 30 plus years. I've served as president for not only the Inland Empire chapter twice, which nobody should ever do, but also in the LA chapter. So I know how important what you do is, that you have to be objective, you have to be fair, you have to be impartial, you have to avoid politics, and you're running a corporation, a nonprofit board. And if there, of course, we have to have that vision thing, right? We're leading a group of people. But one of the things that I like to share is, and I'm trying to channel that now as CAI's president, is always have a little bit of humor and never take yourself too seriously. There's a bigger picture in everything that we do. So thank you. One of the things I remember about serving as president was a time ago, right? So I don't want to say back in the day, but it was a while ago, and we thought of, at that time we called it CAI National, and it was this thing. It was this thing out there that we didn't really, at the chapter level, have a strong connection with, but we knew that it was the parent organization, and when somebody came out to visit the local chapter, it was a big deal, and we embraced it, but it was a little foreign to us, and that is something that we're working to change. And I'm going to talk to you for a couple of seconds about that. But I wanted to share first about, I mentioned vision earlier. What we did at the Board of Trustees retreat in January, um, out in beautiful San Diego, and if you were there, you know how amazing it was. Um, we were really working on a strategic plan for the organization that sort of secures the foundation. It's time for a new one, and we're doing this in a way that looks ahead, not just at the year in front of us, but at the year, maybe 3 years, 5 years, using a method called foresight. We look ahead at what events, challenges, opportunities may come to our industry in that time period and how we will respond to it. It's a way of anticipating future disruptions, and how to respond. None of us saw COVID coming, but it was out there. And had we maybe played a little foresight before that, maybe would have been very better prepared, maybe not. So we used that. We spent a day doing that. And then the second day was really about the strategic plan for the organization. And one of the pillars is shareholder engagement. And shareholder is membership. It's you, it's the chapter connection. And we are working really hard to strengthen that connection so that you don't feel like we're out there somewhere orbiting around you. We are a web and we're all connected. There's no you without us, and vice versa. So we're really committed to strengthening that connection. And me personally, and the board wants to understand what is happening at your local chapter, because what is happening there is different from what is happening nationally. And we all know that. We have different needs, wants, desires, weather conditions, politics, needs, economics. So it's important that we share that information. and we want to reach your members. We want to do it in a way so that your members know what is going on in the organization that they are so instrumentally a part of. The best way to do that, we're learning. So, is it updates that we provide to your chapter luncheons, short video messages, visits? There's a number of us on the board of trustees, and we have membership representation groups that can come out, that are members of your chapter, can come out to your programs, can spend 5 minutes just saying, hello, here's what's going on, here's what we need from you. Whatever it is, we want to hear from you. I have put, I may get into trouble for this, but in the chat, my phone number and an email. You can use that for anything you need. I want to hear from you if there's something you need, if you've got a program and you say, hey, can you give me an update on this? We want you to feel like you have a connection anytime you need it. So that's what that's for, and I encourage you to use it. And I'm not opposed to text messages. That's sort of the way we communicate now. Sometimes we communicate with our clients that way, and that is not necessarily a good thing. We all want to know what you're working on and how we can communicate with you. So please, let's open that channel, open that dialogue. So where does this all lead? What I mentioned to you is this strategic plan, and part of what that is how do we take what we do now? Each of us contributes in a material way to our clients, our communities, our organizations, our volunteerism. What you do matters at every level, and what you do and how you serve makes a difference. I want to underscore that and show how do we build community? How do we build community that thrives, that's a positive environment, and where neighbors are actually enjoying what they're doing? We take surveys, the foundation has surveys that they publish very often that says how happy people are, how happy they are with management, how happy they are in their community with their neighbors. We want to see examples of that because it is out there. And I believe that if we create more positive places for people to live when they come home, we are going to have a ripple effect on what's going out in the world. And if we improve the experience inside our communities, it ripples. So know that you're already providing that, whether you're a service provider, an attorney, a community manager, or a board member, you're providing that to your community. I'd like to hear what it is you're doing. What's going on in your communities? What are you sharing? How are you engaging with your members? What is the impact you're having on them? Because we want to share it with everybody. The second thing is just constantly reach out and let us know what you're doing and how we can help. And we're going to be doing the same thing to you. And if you'd rather have the information come to you in a different way at a different time, communicate with your chapter's executive directors, how we can deliver so that you can have the tools you need to really do what you're doing and do it well. So that's really all I have to just say we're here and we want to open this connection even broader and to thank you. I will take, if any of you have any questions or comments, I'd be happy to hear them. Otherwise, I will happily shut up right now.
Thank you, Matt. If anyone doesn't have any questions, feel free to either drop them in the chat or come off mute. So we welcome anything that you would like to ask Matt at this point in time. All right. I'm also going to drop in my email. I think, Randy, you might have something that you wanted to share. I saw your hand go up. I'm going to drop in my email. I know Matt referenced having people come out to the chapters. I help organize that with our board and our manager councils and their business partner councils and all of that. So if at any time, I know we work with your chapter staff a lot around this already. But again, if you want to do that, I'm the person that can help organize that. So just please reach out to me with any of those requests. But Randy, go ahead and come off mute.
Kelly,
All
thank
right.
you. All
Yes.
right. Technology is my best friend. So, Matt, I wanted to ask because being who I am and being extremely overzealous, and by the way, I'll start with good afternoon, everyone. I started drafting my strategic plan, and my poor CED was like, "Wow, no one's put this together like this." I'm like, "Well, I need bullets in order for me to focus on things." So I was like typing away, and she's just like, "Okay." I'm curious because what I put together, and we were talking about foresight, and I was like, I need to be better prepared as a president to be part of that conversation with our team, with our constituents, right? But then she mentioned, well, we already have, there's a plan already being formulated. So I was like, well, what is that plan and how does it align with what I'm thinking for our vision for our chapter? So I'd like to hear what your plan is and then share what my opening perspective is, because there might be some alignment which is beneficial to all parties.
My plan in terms of the strategic plan or for the year.
Well, I would ask this, what is the overarching vision? Something simple, high level.
So it's I'm not a theme guy and I'm not complicated. I My life is complicated based on what I do, so I don't try to make it more complicated, but we're already doing what I believe CAI is about. It's the Community Associations Institute. We sometimes just gloss over community, but I'm focusing on that word and I'm focusing on how we build community by doing what we do to make people feel better about where they live. And I'm looking right now, I'm staring at you, Mike Perloff, because you're my poster child this year. Um, Mike has a great example of how you pull people together to do something for a community that ended up taking the help that they got from through CAI Orange County chapter and started doing it for themselves by way of special assessment and fixing their property. That's a small example of like, the droplet of water in a still lake and how you ripple out there. So it's those kinds of things. How do we do things in a way instead of strict enforcement and form letters and violation notices that are meaningless, harsh, and lack communication? How do we start to treat people we work with, govern, and live with in a way that makes them really happy about the environment that they're in? Because that's what we have. We just need to put a light on it. So that's my simple vision.
Excellent. I enjoy it. My
Thank you.
takeaway hearing that is something I've shared with Cheryl with RCED is about engagement. There's so much that we send out, but it's somewhat sometimes cold. And I like, and I had a board meeting last night, and I was explaining to my property managers and the board, there are reasons for rules, but there's also a reason to help people understand and not to be punitive. Do not have just 15 pages of stuff just in case. Why do you have this? What environment are you creating? And something with our group is we've done a great job. I'm biased with what we've all done. But if we really need to look at engagement, not only with our homeowners, but our business partners and our managers who are also homeowners. And we need to create better safe spaces where it's okay to have an opinion. And it might be right or I might not understand. It's not necessarily wrong. It's just help me get there. So that's one of the focuses of one of my topics was in taking away what you're saying, which to me is really creating better engagement, is that this year should be a momentum of creating a better vision of understanding and also shared purpose. Because it's like a lot of people I talk to, one of the big things is, all right, tell me a few times because my mind is thinking based on the Gen Xer
Right,
and you're not. So
right,
I need to understand where you're trying to go and what your goal is.
right.
Mhm.
No, there's a lot that we're not skilled to handle, like interracial, intergenerational communication. But the ways we have been doing things traditionally, and I speak from somebody who started out years ago with an enforcement letter that was just, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, and here's what you have to pay. We can't do that anymore. We have to work with people to understand what it is that they own and are living in so that they themselves understand what is and what is not okay. Because the fines here in California, we have that disastrous AB 130 that if you haven't heard about it, you will, that limits fines for to $100 in most cases. Well, that's not going to do anything for somebody that paints their house the wrong color. So there's got to be a way that we are making residents not want to do that, making them want to protect and preserve and appreciate that when they come home to that community, that they have something special. And it's not Pollyanna, it's not pie in the sky. I think it's real. I think it's there, but we just need a way to bring it out.
That's great. Thank you, Matt. Sarah, I see you've got your hand raised.
Yeah, I was gonna just say, I love what you're saying, Matt, and I cannot say how much I support that message um, in really just trying to figure out how we can work together with the homeowners. I have felt and seen that if the tone could be better. I mean, even just I just taught the CAI class to the board members for our chapter this last Saturday, and like the communications piece around the tone and how we're delivering it, and like if we just come off already defensive, I mean, no wonder where we get here. So I just wanted to add to this because I sit on the Legislative Action Committee that this, if we don't change how we're educating our boards on being able to work together, we're already seeing it. But you know, you're seeing a lot of constituents come up, and these bills that are getting proposed are literally because of one homeowner who is mad at their association and creates a story, and now here the entire LAC is fighting a bill that is, you know, not going to be good for the rest of the community. And
Sure.
so I guess I'm somewhat kind of venting in a sense because we're in session right now, and this is what we're working on, and I'm sure you could speak to that too, Matt. But if we don't get a handle on this, we're going to have so many bills coming down the pipeline that are going to be so detrimental to associations
Right.
that,
Right.
like, I don't know what we're going to do at that point. So
Right.
thanks
And
for this.
it doesn't take much. I mean, just look at everything we see every day out in the world. It doesn't take much to create two sides on any issue. And in a community association, one angry homeowner on a neighbor chat or a website or a Facebook page, God forbid, and you've got a string of people who are joining in that negative dialogue. So the best we can do is be be proactive about what is working in that community, what we're doing right, because you can't, that's the best way to counter somebody who's out there with the negative by creating a positive environment, highlighting what the community is doing something that engages members. Whatever it is, find a way to connect people. Again, it's community, it's people, they're humans, we're all different and we struggle to get along, but we've got to find a way to do that because when we do, we find that we kind of like each other and it can work. And we're so used to being in our sort of silo that we're afraid to reach out and cross over and build something. And I think we have the ability to bring that out.
Matt, all of those comments are, I think, resonating through this group. And I want to circle it back of, things that you can bring to your local level and bring to your chapter. And I think, some of these important things are around, making sure that we're providing that right education. And some of it might not be the same pieces, talking about tone and communication might not be a topic that we always think about that we should be presenting and how that affects our members. But maybe that is something that's important that you should bring back or bring to your education committees as a topic to consider, or to your magazines as an article that could be written, to make sure that we're getting that education back to our members.
Hmm.
That's one of our pillars of being here, is to make sure that we're providing this education, that we're making our members stronger. And so thinking about some of those out of the box pieces and how to bring that forward to our members in different ways.
Right.
Um,
It's critical. Yeah.
Yes. And then we actually just held earlier this week our community conversations live. I see some of you on here that participated in that. Again, several of you helped host some breakout rooms, so really appreciate that. But again, how important advocacy is within our world. We tracked last year close to 2,500 bills across the nation. And that just shows how much this is happening, how much is going on out there. And it really comes down to being able to communicate back to those lawmakers and making sure they understand that we're also here as that resource. That's something that we're really strongly working at with our lax of making sure they know who we are. And before putting these bills in place, talking with us. What is this going to mean? How does this affect our constituents in these communities? And then finally, along the lines of that negative, of flipping the page and really trying to get the positive out there. And
Absolutely.
so, one of our initiatives this year is the Love Where You Live, Love Where You Work campaign, and really getting those stories. So, really helping promote that to your members, to share those stories back with you, back with us, making sure we're highlighting those things and getting them out to the press. Matt, you mentioned Orange County, and Mike, I'm sure the chapter leaders would love to hear about, what happened and everything around that. But that's such a
Yeah.
positive story. And to be able to get things like that out when all of these negatives are coming, I think is really important, because one negative is, really strong, and it might take 10 positive stories to really combat, to show this isn't that negative environment. That's a one-off. Look at all of these positive things. Look at how the communities are coming together and how they're supporting things, and us as an organization, how we're assisting our members to do that as well. So couple of those things to think about, of how to bring those initiatives that are at that higher level down within the chapter, and really help push that up. Because like Matt said, if we don't know and you guys help push it up, it's really showing that bigger, larger impact that we have within that organization, not just, a little pocket here, and what we can really accomplish overall together.
Sure, sure. And there's another word that I like to use, and that's passion. And I don't want us to like just sort of brush under the rug the idea that what we do is stressful, and it's an emotional toll, and it's a grind, and we're all about mental health. But there are ways to find the passion in what you're doing and pursue that and focus on that and find a way. If you're a community manager, what do you bring to that community that gives you joy, that you can maybe develop in a way that's going to rub off on your members? Whether it's bring your dog to election day, or whatever your passion is, start to do things like that. It might seem simple, but it's not. It really, really has an impact, and it brings people around to look at each other in a different way and not think, oh, that's the manager or that's the board. You don't want to talk to them, or you don't want to engage with them, or they won't tell you the truth, or they're lying. We've got to turn the dialogue around. We've got to highlight what's good about where we live.
So, Matt, do you think I should share the thing we're doing in Orange County? Can you guys hear me all right?
We can, Mike, go for it.
I would definitely
Yeah.
love to.
I'm
Yeah. Spend a couple of seconds and
I'm
tell us.
nervous.
Don't be nervous.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and I'll try and keep it as concise. I'm not nervous to speak. I'm nervous that my reception might be poor. I'm out in the field right now, so I just hope it's not too bad. But my name is Mike Perloff, and I'm the current president of the California chapter, the Orange County chapter of California. So I've been involved in the industry about 25 years, and there's does everyone, so I think Habitat for Humanity is nationwide. Can you guys kind of, does everyone have Habitat for Humanity? I think it's nationwide, right?
Yeah.
So if not, it's a volunteer effort where they go in and provide housing and or fix housing for communities that are less fortunate. So I was on a Habitat for Humanity build about 5 years ago, and it was one of the most incredible things I've done. I highly encourage, if you have a way to do it, definitely do it. But the immediate light bulb went on while I was there that we could apply a very similar concept to community associations. So it all happened about 5 years ago. As you guys know, it takes time to get things off the ground, um, especially when they're new. But so last year we finally launched what we call CAI Aid, and we've been calling it CAID for short. But we basically reached out to our entire membership to identify a community within our Orange County area that's in need. Um, we went through that process, and there's a community that is um, I mean, there's a lot of pictures. Pictures would do it much more justice. But not to talk negatively about them, but they had a playground. Let's put it this way: they had a playground that hadn't been touched by children in probably 5 to 10 years, and that's coming from the board's mouth directly. So we identified the community, and then we put together some goals of what we'd like to accomplish. And it's a long story because initially we had planned to renovate an entire clubhouse, including a roof replacement. And the long story short is we probably bit off more than we could chew in hindsight. There's obviously a lot of issues with liability. Matt being an attorney could speak much more directly to that. But long story short, we kind of bit off more than we could chew. So we just kept, kudos to our executive director and our entire board. We just kept on trucking and trying to do whatever we could. So we ended up renovating their playground, the playground I mentioned about. So we reached out, we put together a scope of work. We had our entire membership then volunteer to complete an entire playground renovation. The entire program basically took us through the whole year, from the start of the year, identifying the project, developing a scope of work, setting the dates to actually accomplish the work. We got the city mayor involved. We had a lot of local press. It was a really incredible story, especially because of, there's just a lot of components to it. But there was a daycare center that operated. Again, I don't want to say too much because there's so much details, but um, we're extremely proud of the outcome. It was honestly like I cried like 3 times throughout this process. It was so incredible. I'm not kidding. I'm a passionate person, but it really was a touching, moving thing that we brought to the community. And I think that it kind of just tells the story that we're here to serve, we're here to better the community. Like back to what Matt was saying, the ripple effect, I think that made not only for the community, but also for our members, even just being able to be a part of something that really made an impact. And, it's just, it sent out the ripple of kindness and community. And yeah, I'm really proud of it. I think we did amazing. If anyone has questions, let me know. And I hope that was as concise as I could make it.
No, that was great, Mike. And we posted a couple things. Thanks, Terry, for posting that blog post about it as well. Again, we posted one of the pictures that you had shared with that too. And I think this goes back to a lot of chapters. I know, Sarah, you mentioned your chapter does something, and there's a lot of chapters doing some of these really great initiatives, getting some good press around it. And I think it's just the more we share, and sometimes these things you guys are doing kind of stay at that local level. So please make sure that's getting shared upward. Help us help you level that up even more on that national stage. Um, we do have a media manager, and he works with a lot of the press outlets and everything. And these are the stories that we like to share with them too. And so the more that we know what you guys are doing and utilizing and putting out in those communities are really great for us to, again, show that bigger impact. And if you do want to start something again like this initiative or other initiatives, please let us know. I know we're talking with chapter executive directors about efforts that are taking place too. So again, I know they're having those conversations within that staff network, but again, this is also that space to work through some of those ideas. And Mike, I also love that you acknowledged it took some time. This isn't something that's going to take place
Yeah.
overnight. And that it does take a little bit of time to get that in place, but making sure you're taking that time to do it right and not just rush through it and not be able to have that type of impact without really doing it.
CAI Southeast Florida chapter, we last year, and I know it all takes time, like you said, came up with an idea to give a grant to one of our members that needed to have something on their property repaired or, and it had to, so we had homeowners submit their applications, and then from there they were selected. And we this year we awarded the grant. Well, in 2025 we awarded the grant at our gala, and now this year 2026 we're going to have the sponsors that helped pay for the grant, and of course our chapter. They're going to identify, or not, they already identified the what they're going to do, but I think it was beautification that they needed or something. And now we're going to monitor that, and then we'll start, doing that. It'll probably be 2027 by the time that's completed. But I thought that was we made
Great.
it for members only, so they had to be a homeowner member of our chapter. The community had to be. So I thought that was interesting to share with you, and I agree with all of I love my community and what we're doing this year. So we're trying to implement a lot of
That's
that
great.
here. It's not as easy as it sounds, guys,
No.
No,
but thank you.
absolutely. Thank you, Diana. Wendy, go ahead.
Okay, so a couple things I wanted to say really, and I will be as brief as I can. Um, Matt, going back to what you talked about with community, I think it's awesome that, I think so many of us are focusing on that right now. Like part of my vision for the chapter and what we keep repeating in my president's message is that, my hope for the year remains the same, that every person who walks into one of our events feels welcome, connected, and part of something larger than themselves. Whether they're a member or not, that's what we want for this community. And speaking to all of the amazing community service things that you're doing, I do want to at least tell you like a little caution story. Many years ago, when I was president of the sister chapter, I started the community service committee, and we did Day of Caring, and we all got to pick different organizations to help, and we kept growing. And so we too had a similar idea to offer working grants for members of the community, and we did the first one, and it was fantastic. And then the second year, we kind of did what you were just speaking about, where we let people within associations within our organization put out their like sob story request, like how they needed help. And there was a community, and one of the general manager was on the community service committee, and she actually nominated this family who had just gone through so much travesty and tragedy, and they lived in a very high-end community but could not do their backyard. Since they purchased it, they couldn't do that, so they were in violation. And that was before AB 130, Matt, so they were getting fines of which they couldn't afford because there was cancer and there was just all these things. So we got landscapers at the general contractor like myself. So many of us came together, and we probably did $100,000 backyard for them. And front yard, and did this huge thing, and it was promoted everywhere, and it was on the news, and it was so wonderful. And the heartbreaking side of it was within a year, they had let everything go to waste. It had all become destroyed, and they ended up back in the same process because they didn't have the means to keep up with it. And I only say that because you have all these really wonderful offerings of intent, but all of a sudden they were left with this beautifully landscaped situation that then they couldn't keep up. And it, like, I just want to caution you to like think about, there might be a fallout that you have no way to anticipate. It broke our hearts. we felt like we did something wrong. We felt like we set them up to fail. And it was obviously the exact opposite of what we intended. And so they actually stopped doing things like that. And it was really heartbreaking for me personally, because it was like my passion project. But I just want to put that out there so that if I can help anybody else strategize for a potential success plan instead of something that ended up being really heart like causing a lot of heartache in our chapter, at least you should know where we failed and we didn't have any anticipation or any strategies built in really to come back around, if that makes sense.
That's a great story. Not necessarily because of the outcome, but I don't look at it as a failure because you have no guarantee that somebody is not going to fall upon circumstances after your good deed. Um, Couple of points I just want to, I promised I'd shut up, but I'm lying. The the point made by Michael is, or Mike is so critical, and that is the residual benefit of this is not to the homeowner, but to your chapter. And each of you as presidents want nothing more than to succeed as a president. And what that means is different for each one of you. But when you get people together for a cause greater than themselves or for something bigger, a food drive, a blood drive, donating books to kids, whatever it is, you've already connected your chapter to feel part of something and that they are now forever connected in that project. You're already doing it at your chapters, whether it's turkey drives, whatever you're doing. Don't ignore what you're already doing that is building community. And that's really what this focus is about, is to say, look at the good in what we do every single day and let's highlight that. I think that's particularly important to recognize that there's going to be, you're still given, but there's going to be failure. There's going to be trip ups. Things aren't going to pan out in 4 or 5 years, but you're not responsible for that. You already gave, and you gave them the tools, and it's up to them to do what they need to do with it.
Thank you, Matt. All right. That was a
Lots
great
of good stuff.
conversation.
Yeah.
Yes, great conversation. Um, Anybody else have anything else for Matt at this point in time?
You can always track me down.
Yes.
I'm in your
Um,
chat.
we will go ahead. I will repost Matt's contact information so that it's ready and available for you. As Matt said, please feel free to reach out to him at any time if you have questions, celebrations. Um, Again, this is that time with your peers to also do that. I know we usually ask that question, anything you guys want to celebrate with success. So again, please bring that forward to this group. You know, it's all about celebrating what you guys are doing, the goodness that we're bringing to the industry, to our communities. And it's so important to bring that to light, especially right now with everything that is going on in the world. Um, Also, again, please share back with us. You know, we as the chapter relations team, we like to be able to make sure that we're getting that to our marketing departments, that we're also able to level you up. So please let us know. We try our best to kind of watch, monitor, have those conversations with you and your staff. But the more that you can share back with us, the easier it is that we're not missing something within, you know, the social media posts and everything like that. So please just remind all of your committees that piece. And speaking to that as well, just I don't want it to get lost in the mix of the day. Coming up in March, we do have sharing sessions for your committee chairs around young professionals. So even if you don't have a young professionals group and it's something you're thinking about, please feel free to send a representative from your chapter to attend that meeting. We have one for your education chairs and one for your membership chairs to attend. So again, these are those sharing sessions. If you have recommendations for other committees, we also usually do a time in fall with a different set of committees to be able to talk to their peers across the country as well. So if you have other committees that you're either interested in forming or would love your committee members to be able to have that peer connection, please let us know so we can make sure that we set those up as well for all of you. So you should all have a calendar invite for that. We also sent out an email. Please feel free to either send the email or forward that calendar invite to anybody who would like to participate in those in March. All right. Well, we've only got about 15 minutes left today. We were going to focus on one of your focuses, one of your main priorities, and we were going to go around the space. But I want to make sure that there's time that if anyone wants to bring up a challenge or a success that you have that you want to share, I want to make sure that your time is valuable, that we open that up for that discussion. So at this time, if anyone wants to come off mute and throw out something that's been keeping them up at night or a challenge that the chapter might be facing, now's the time to open that up. All right. I don't see any. Oh, go ahead, Amanda.
Thanks. So my comment is not necessarily challenge related, although I do want to touch base with you probably offline, Mike, about getting over some hurdles related to liability in doing some of those community projects. Our board this last year really focused on revamping our community outreach charter, committee charter, so that we could focus on how we as a chapter can give back to the communities that we serve. We were doing things like food bank and some other outreach programs before, but we wanted to figure out how we can really delve more into the community world. So we looked at some of those projects, and God bless all of the lovely attorneys that we had serving on our board at the time. They said, no, it's too much liability. Let's not go down that road. So I'd love to talk with you, Mike. But what we did end up focusing on is supporting a job fair, a couple of them this year, because we really want to focus on how we grow young professionals and bringing in the new wave of professionals and experts in this field. Because if we don't do it now, we're just, as an industry, we're going to struggle to have professionals that we can follow along in the years to come. So if anybody has ideas on things that work really well, if they've been involved with job fairs, I would love to hear about it. As we start, preparing ours, I'd be happy to share more information on how we're doing that. But we're holding a chapter-wide job fair. So vendors, management companies, communities that have other professionals that might, have fields that people might be interested in. We're really trying to expand from the professional aspect in the industry.
Are you doing your job fair in person or virtually?
We are going to be doing it in person. So we're thinking like taking over a large park, probably in like summertime, having people come out, and then there being booths, kind of like an expo, where people who might be interested can come out and check out the different job opportunities that are available in the association world. Like I said, whether that's on the management side or the vendor side, or even just talking to bringing out community volunteers who might be interested in how they can get involved with the chapter, or how they can get involved on, better serving their communities.
So I don't think we have anyone on from the Washington Metro chapter today, but they actually recently just did this too, Amanda. So we'll make sure that you get connected with them. Emily and I also, we always kind of race for who can post the link quickest. And I think we got there at the same time this time around. But we have a portal of resources. So whether you're putting on a job fair or you're attending them, or even if your business partners or management companies are going to them, we have a couple different resources that you can tap into, including our attracting talent guide, different statistics from our research foundation in formats that are easy to use, different videos. And then we also even have a worksheet of for you can give to your business partners or management companies of how to engage the people at these fairs. So some tips, some questions, some recommendations so that they can get their staff up to speed too, of how to interact during that event. So this is an open portal to the public. So again, you can share this with your committee members. You can download any of this information and share it directly with any of those people. So again, feel free to use these resources. If you are doing these, I also believe, I don't think we have anybody, is it Chesapeake, Crystal, who's looking at doing one also coming up?
Yes,
So that
Chesapeake is
would,
looking, they're focusing more on not the general public, but high school and community college students. So a slightly different approach, but still very, very meaningful to get young people into the industry.
yeah. So Amanda, I might even recommend putting that out through your President Exchange group, that online group, because then that also tracks the conversation. So anyone else who might be interested or others that aren't on the call and maybe haven't communicated with us yet of these initiatives might be able to share some of those resources of what was successful, challenges, things like that to help with that.
That's great. Thank you so much.
Does anyone have any other feedback for Amanda at this time? Okay.
Amanda, I just put in the chat that the Washington Metro chapter has done it as well. So you may want to check with them and see some of the things that they learned from that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Anyone else have anything for the group? All right.
I just,
Randy, go ahead.
yes, I just wanted to say kudos to Mike and all that you did. That looked like a long labor
Oh,
of love.
thank
Picture's
you.
amazing, but I was like, that is a lot and amazing. So congrats.
Thank you so much, Randy. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate that.
All right. Well, a couple reminders. We are tracking with your president-elects to make sure that we're getting them registered for conference and for that training. Please just, we recommend touching base with them about the training, about engaging while you're at the annual conference. Any of you who will be at the annual conference, again, we will have the chapter leader lounge. Once we have what's happening in the lounge finalized, we will make sure that we share that with this group. But again, just please encourage your president-elects. I know from the stories that I have heard from people who are in your position that when they attended and kind of had that guidance from previous leadership, it really meant a lot to them. And they went in with the right mindset for the training instead of, oh, this is mandatory and it's going to be boring and I don't really want to be here. But about being engaged and interacting with your peers and really, kind of setting that tone for the year, we have found has gone a long way. So we just ask that if you're willing to, and you had a great time with us last year, to please help support that. Randy, I see you came off mute again.
Yeah, only because I just want to add some levity for those that attended last year. And I wish I had known, again, with my team, I'm always like, say something fun. No one warned me about the amount of walking and the distance. I wore boots. I was in pain. I was like, I need to buy comfortable shoes. I can't. So I don't know what it's going to be like in Florida. I've already asked people, I'm like, what's the temperature like? Up here, cool. I can wear a sweater. No idea about the temperature. Everyone's like, you'll be fine. It's not that bad. It's like, yeah, my place is at 63 right now, and I'm comfortable. Just to give insight to others, I'm like, so that and walking. So I've already told the president-elect for us, I'm like, take comfortable, nice shoes. People do not warn you about the distance.
Yes, please warn your president-elect.
So if
Yes.
It will be
anyone
hot
will,
when you come.
wait, what?
I'm in Florida. It will be hot when you come.
And the humidity.
Humid.
And
yes.
Humid. It will be,
Yes,
but it's going to be cold
absolutely.
inside the meeting room probably because the air conditioning is going to be flowing. So
Oh, God.
layers are your best friend. And yes, definitely comfortable shoes. Warn your president-elects. Yes, they will be walking. Gym shoes are fine. While it's a, business casual style event, making sure that over the course of several days, there will be a lot of walking and movement and everything. So we want to make sure we keep your feet
So,
comfortable.
Kelly, to that, and no one had warned me, so I had a three-piece suit trying to traverse that area. Yeah, it was one of those like, I'll be back. Ran back to my room, took off everything, put something else on. But it was like, no one told me that. We know better.
You're just too fashionable, Randy. That's all.
Yeah,
So
yeah. We'll be better this year. Look forward to it. And
yes. And we're happy that you're able to join us again. Um, I think my final reminder is just that we know a lot of chapters are having spring trade shows. I'm looking around the faces. I'm going to see Randy, I'll see you next week with Illinois.
yeah,
Please make sure that if you want to have a presence from National, make sure your CED is reaching out to us. I know a lot of the times we'll reach out around those trade shows to make sure if you want some materials and things like that, that we're getting them into your hands and everything. But again, we would love to come, as Matt said, whether it's us from the national staff or the board of trustees, even if it's just to be there and have that presence. We're really looking to engage with our members at your local events too. So please let us know if you would like us there. Again, we're also giving that message to your CEDs, so don't be surprised if they share with you that one of us will be attending your conferences, your trade shows, your luncheons, things like that. We're really wanting to get engaged and out there with our members. So with that, Crystal, Emily, Lawrence, Alicia, anything else for the group to remind? All right. Emily, I see you came off mute. Did you want to share
I was just
something?
going to say thank you all for what you do. We really appreciate you all.
Yes. Well, have a wonderful Friday the 13th and an even better Valentine's Day and President's Day coming up. It's a lot happening in this weekend. Just a reminder, the headquarters office is closed on Monday. So please feel free if you are working and you send any messages, we will get to those after we get back into the office on Tuesday. But we hope you have a wonderful weekend. And really enjoy hopefully nice weather for those of you who have the ability to have nice weather. Us in the Chicago area, Randy, I think it might be sunny, so I'm looking forward to at least having the sun around for us. And have a great weekend, everyone. Thanks for joining us.